Now we are live in the bunker.
Podcast episode 52.
Day 52 in the bunker.
March 1 at 2:48 p.m. Day one of
Chef
not being here.
Chef Apocalypse.
We
I have already since this day started, day one.
There's no more squirrels on the property.
I have already eaten all the bread possible to eat.
And remain alive.
And still be alive. I know that tonight when I check my numbers, I'm going to have to do like 30 units of insulin.
How many shots is that?
Thanks, Chef. Well, it's one. I can do a bunch of units.
In the old days, how many shots worth would it be?
In the old days, if you were doing it the old way, it'd probably be 2 or 3.
That sounds way worse.
Yeah. So, thanks, Chef. Thanks for leaving us here with just nothing but bread to eat.
Yeah.
Your shenanigans are above board.
We've had pizza. Pizza of all things.
Pizza.
And donuts.
And it wasn't really good either.
Good donuts.
Oh, those donuts, yeah.
Let's talk first. Before I've got a couple things here before we start the podcast. Email's going out tonight, so check it. Email went out last night, so check your email. All the new shit for the
You
week.
understand this? They're 3 days behind, so telling them that the email's going out doesn't help any of these people. So, future us, there was a past email.
Vanilla extract.
Yeah.
It's a big problem in the United States.
They're
starting to secure vanilla extract and not sell it to kids because kids are drinking it to get drunk. Yep. And then I was told...
How much vanilla extract do you have to drink to get a buzz off of?
I don't know.
How much vanilla... Come on, kids.
And Formula 44D and all that shit. They changed all that because kids were getting high off of that. So
Stop it.
Now none of that shit works.
Stop it.
How about, what it was Amanda telling? It was Bangladesh. Where did she say?
I want to say it was like Bangladesh
India,
or something. India something.
Someplace not in the United States. They're taking sanitary napkins. Used sanitary napkins. She did say used sanitary napkins.
She did say used.
And
which
tampons.
Doesn't make any sense.
Tampons and pads and shit. They're boiling them down and somehow processing the liquid because the stuff that sterilizes them
Has alcohol in it?
has something in it that makes them high. They're somehow using sanitary napkins and pads. Fucking... And they wonder what's wrong with you.
Look, it cannot be that hard to just go get a 6-pack of beer. Stop it.
Especially where she said.
Stop it. Just stop all these. You don't need to find crazier. Really what you're doing is you're just killing yourself. So enjoy that.
And then I figure we'll go ahead and read this dude's email.
Which one? The Tool?
Did
we send him his thing? Or are we just
No, it's sitting on my desk right now. 8:40 a.m. I got this email. Keep in mind this dude ordered this at 8:25. 8:25 a.m. Dude places an order for a set of coyote belt keepers, which we have. We have fucking bins full of them, every color.
On the shelf, sitting, waiting.
I didn't blow this one up. I got.
So now you're gonna have to rub your hand across it to figure out what it says.
After placing an order, I get the notification that the delivery takes 8 to 12 weeks for domestic delivery. That's absolutely ridiculous. And then you guys state you don't offer refunds. The wait time for the product is outrageous, and it's very underhanded. Your company does not offer refunds for such long wait times, and even more so that you do not let this be known until after orders are placed. I will not conduct further business with you and will be reaching out on social media to tell others about your tactics.
It's going to reach out.
So that was at...
Please don't reach out on social media. Please don't.
That was at 8:40. At 8:47, I saw the email and I replied with this. Calm down, you little bitch. It says that on the fucking website that you didn't bother to read. We ship well over 1,000 orders every damn week. Every month or so, we get one of you a little cunt like yourself. That's way less than 1%. That's way less than 1% are little bitches like you are. You are blabbering out your cocksucker to the guy that can give you what you want or keep you from getting it. You didn't even bother to include any fucking info about your order. Had you replied to the confirmation email, you know, the one that says 8 to 12 weeks, and included the info of what you order, I could look to see what it is you ordered. Chances are it would have shipped today. 80% of the orders ship same or next day. So, Reply back with some fucking info as to what you ordered, and I will get you canceled and refunded. Try to have a better day. Sooner or later, you will pull this shit with someone in real life that will slap the shit out of you, you little bitch. Hurry up now, run along, and get that info. And I just gave him the typical, hey, participate on our social media, blah, 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 blah. He actually came back with, man, when I read this, I was really pissed. But now I kind of laughed that you stood your ground and you're a man. Nobody would talk shit to me like that. I would slap them in the face. It's on your website, but nobody bothers to read that kind of stuff.
Not
I did
my
find
fault.
it. So whatever.
Did you cancel and refund it?
No, I'll just let it sit there till Monday and let them get fucking heated over it.
You can come back a fighting. It's better when you reach out on social media. Please, you're so scaring me.
Please don't. We'll send your stuff for free. Don't tell anyone.
Don't reach out on social media. I'm so scared that some lib retard's gonna respond.
These ones have bigger words.
Bigger words so you can read it.
Maybe I can read these better. So this is episode 47 that went up last night, I believe. In reply to Skully, did you catch the Alex Jones interview on Joe Rogan's podcast? It was insane. The dude paints the walls with crazy, but I have to hand it to him. He makes a very compelling arguments. I'm not saying I buy it all, but he does speak the truth about the permanent government, as Skully has mentioned. What do you guys think about some of the stuff he has to say? Thanks, and love the podcast.
I couldn't listen to it. I tried to listen to it.
Too much crazy?
He is just so over the top. Like, just so over the top with everything he wants to say. He's just so over. And I'm not talking about, like,
just the
conspiracy. Just the voice. Just the hype. He's talking to Joe like it's a fucking WWE WrestleMania match of the century. And it's kind of funny when you listen to Joe talk to him. Joe's very, like, overly calm.
Like a hostage
He's like overly calm, and he's like, I think Joe is a psychiatrist in there, just like, all right, calm down. Let's talk about what you're talking about. How are your feelings? It's just, Alex Jones is a full-on fucking loon, and he is so over the top.
What was the other dude in there for?
Well, the other guy, the Joey Bravo, is very big into conspiracies. He's a big conspiracy guy too. So I think it was just kind of to get
he wasn't there to protect Joe Rogan.
Nah. Joe don't need no protection. You know, I just saw something the other day, and because Joe Rogan is on a podcast, I know he's done some super shit with his life. He's got like 10 comedy specials. He's working for he works for the fucking MMA as an announcer, but I just don't think of him in this way. I don't think of him in this way, and I was looking up his company on it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan is worth $24 million.
Not surprising.
I'm like, well, when I saw, you know what I'm saying? When I look at Joe, and then I listen to Joe's podcast, and then I saw that, I'm like, what the fuck?
Is he really worth, like, but what does that really mean exactly? Like, could he liquidate and hold $24 million tomorrow, or his company with accounts receivable and like, where does that number actually come from? I always wonder that.
They had it all listed out. I mean, he made a ton of money on his specials. His
not to take away from him, it does not surprise me. That actually seems kind of low to me. John Skully, I was thinking about what you said about the Fukushima meltdown. I have and how the fallout is poisoning our waters off the Pacific coast. My question is, has the market price for salmon skyrocketed since the radiation poison has decimated the salmon population? Funny how you don't hear anything like this in the news. It makes me sick.
I don't know.
I'm eating fucking salmon sushi all the fucking time. I don't know.
Here's the thing. This is the scary part about radiation poisoning.
You don't know until it's...
You don't know until you don't know until you have to get a bunch of fucking iodine because your lymph nodes are no longer working. That's the thing about radiation poisoning. Guaranteed, without any hesitation, if you are eating big commercial fish out of the Pacific Ocean, it has a radiation level. Guaranteed.
Tuna, salmon.
Yeah, especially if you're eating fucking fatty tunas and shit like that. They have a radiation level.
Deep water, cold water fish.
The question is, without some sort of actual cancer. When they cut up that fish and serve it, are people any of the wiser about the radiation? 100% no, you're not. You're going to consume those products. It's.
I know it, and I'm consuming those products.
You're going to consume those products.
I take iodine every day,
which is probably a good idea. I'll give you another example of that. You know, we were talking about the black tourism or the dark tourism that you can do, and I talked about the tour that goes to Fukushima. They actually go to Fukushima, and the radiation levels are so fucking off the chart that these people who had actually gone to Chernobyl were like, we need to turn around. These fucking radiation levels are too high. Well, one of the things they do on this tour is they pull over,
Mama-san,
and they go to this place to eat. And there's these old ladies, these 4 old ladies that are cooking food. And there's a couple of people in there outside of the tour that are eating. And then most everybody is just buying food and eating it. Well, one of the guys is like, where does this food come from? And the tour guide's like, I don't know, probably somewhere around here. And the tour guide's just eating it. And one of the guys is like, well, then it has to be irradiated. It has to have radiation levels in it. And he ends up still eating the food. So the problem is we're talking about a health thing that is a long-term, it's a long-term health risk. So, you know, those people that are in that restaurant eating that food, they don't keel over immediately because the radiation levels aren't high enough. But the probability of having some sort of cancer later on in their life is probably a lot higher than the people who don't eat in there. The Japanese are actually hiring old ladies to go into these neighborhoods. Because believe it or not, there's whole neighborhoods just empty. Empty. They evacuated them because of the radiation. Now they're trying to get people to move back into these neighborhoods, and nobody wants to go back. So they're hiring these older Japanese ladies to go in and work kitchen counters. So there's food there because obviously if there's food, people want to go towards the food. They're also hiring fucking street performers to hang out in these areas to try to get people to move back into their homes. Once again, this is going to be one of those things, long-term effect. Radiation, you know, in small doses, it's about the long-term effect and the cancers that you get from those radiations. Look at any of the stuff. If you're interested in that, the U.S. Army did very, very detailed long-term studies of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. You can actually access those now, and they will talk about third generation deformities from people born in that area because of the radiation from those 2 bombs.
Sackalicious 851.
Sackalicious?
Is that like ball sack? Like,
is that?
He's gonna say something, and I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna be like,
Should
oh, that's totally not ball sack. Sackalicious. I meant the 300 blackout versus 39 question of which caliber, regardless of which firearm it's stuck into.
Well, right, still, you can't have a. You cannot have. Here's the thing, my friends. You cannot have an apples and orange. You cannot have a question about apples and oranges without discussing apples and oranges.
You just asked, do you want a 7.6251 or do you want a 45? They're fucking 2 different animals.
I mean, yeah, you just can't. I said the reason why you go with the 300 blackout is because you can go subsonic and supersonic without changing anything. An AK-47. So once again, now we're talking platform. Is very hard to suppress in a manner that makes it effective. And who's making subsonic 7.62x39? I guarantee you can't get it at fucking Walmart.
You remove the suppressor factor to it, there's no reason for it.
Yeah, if you remove the suppressor, then go. If you're not gonna, if you remove the suppressor, then reliability and cheapness of ammunition goes 100% to the 39 versus the 300 blackout. So if you're going supersonic against supersonic, and we're totally taking the suppressor portion out of it, then the 7.62x39 is a better platform.
Hey guys, I've been listening to the podcast for a few weeks now and really enjoy it. Thank you for the excellent content, as well as taking the time to answer your viewers' questions. I have heard subjects of firearm ownership by those with prior criminal convictions come up a few times on the podcast. This has made me curious about what you believe the best self-home defense options would be for a person who cannot legally own a firearm. Or, even beyond that, what firearm weapon would you choose to defend yourself with if you lived in a county or state which modern semi-automatic rifles were not an option for legal reasons? Thanks. Good. Keep up the good work. Respectfully, Harry Sokoloff. So, if you're talking can't have a military assault rifle type rifle, black gun, semi-auto or whatever, fucking home defense, shotgun.
Yeah. Any shotgun or
pistol.
Fucking 30-30 lever gun.
Now, if you can't have either of those, what are your options? Because it depends where you're at. And a lot of states, my shit's federal. My shit's a little different than dudes who went to state prison. A lot of guys can get their rights restored. So if you don't have your rights, chances are it hasn't been long enough, or you haven't done the paperwork to get them restored, depending on state. And a lot of dudes who can't legally own a firearm also can't have a fucking bow or a crossbow and shit in those same states. So really, I don't know, man. Fucking pepper spray.
Well, my recommendation would be, you got to go the LA gangster route. The reason why pit bulls are considered so vicious and violent is because if you can't own a gun, but you can own a dog that will chew somebody's fucking leg off, that's almost just as good as a gun. Get yourself a fucking good Malinois, and then your home defense problems are solved really quick. I mean, not that you can't defend yourself against a dog if you know how to do it right. A dog will be way more effective than walking down the hall with a baseball bat.
Dog's gonna know that they're there before you are. I don't really have a good answer to that, man. Anybody listening to this, fucking chime in. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Early warning is always better. Fucking a good alarm system, good cameras. Fucking know they're coming ahead of time.
Can of wasp spray.
It'll
shoot 15 feet.
If you're gonna do the wasp spray though, you can do the fucking pepper spray.
Yeah, but pepper spray won't shoot 15 feet.
Some of it. I think
wasp spray will go 15 feet, my
wasp
friend.
Spray. Then you got the issue of you blinded a dude, and what was your intent prior? Every dude every dude with a can of wasp spray. If you're, I don't know.
I was scared.
You were scared.
I was scared for my life. I just grabbed the first thing that was there.
I always hear that. Except every dude that has a can of wasp spray by the door has also told a bunch of fucking people that. And with the internet the way it is now, I don't know, man.
Get you a dog.
John, ever thought about making chain? A dog's a big commitment. Like if you got a dog like that, that's a weapon. If that dog bites the wrong person, that's the same. That's manslaughter. I mean, it's a big commitment, and it's a lot of time and training. You can't leave that. Well, I wonder what, like, every time I see Chris Costa, he's got his fucking animal. He's got his dog with him. Everybody I know with a dog like that, you're not going to Italy. You're not going to see Rome. You're not going scuba diving.
I mean, I guess if you had really good friends, but yeah, especially a Malinois, his whole life is about attention. It's all about attention. So if you don't give him the necessary attention, he'll dig a hole underneath your house and pull all your fucking plumbing out.
All your sprinklers.
You'll come home and all your sprinklers will be above ground sprinklers.
And there'll be a turd on the top of them.
Yep. So
I don't know, man. If you're listening to this and you've got some input, fucking let's hear what you guys have. John, ever thought about making chainsaw bar covers? I haven't. I have bar covers for all of our saws. They're rigid plastic, so I don't know how we would really do a bar cover. Even if it was like an oven mitt on the inside, those fucking teeth are going to catch on that. I love the idea of it. It would look fucking rad having that strapped on the side of my bed with some multicam and shit. But it's right up there with just as cool as all those fucking dudes making all that nylon molly covers and shit for the motorcycles, for the dirt bikes. It looks rad, but the first time you crash, I mean, it's fucking... It's awesome for a photograph. The same reason we don't have molly panels all over the razors and shit. Fuck, I can't keep... I have a beautiful set of carbon fiber fucking panels for one of the razors. I don't ever put that shit on there. Well, the only time you'll ever see that is at a trade show on some carpet. I can't keep fucking plastic and aluminum fucking doors from getting ripped off. I mean, and it's never me or Jeff that fucks them up. It's when we let some other asshole ride around the track and we're like, hey,
there's nothing like
don't bust my fucking door off backwards.
There's nothing like a razor coming back and the door completely missing.
Or you got to run out because it changes pitch when it's upside down. After you specifically tell some asshole, don't drive the 2-seat car. The majority of the damage done to my cars has not been done by... And we're talking, guys, we're not talking like a flat tire.
Yeah.
We're talking between $5,000 and $10,000 every fucking incident. And we're talking 8 to 9 incidents. Like, I have 50 grand into cars. Not even, I mean, we upgraded them every time, but not, it was mandatory. Like, it could not be used without it.
Yeah.
So, but he says, maybe with some side pockets for files, chain tools, and a spare chain. All the existing ones I have suck pure ass. Either hard plastic and not secure. The hard plastic is not secure. I have the boxes, though. Like, I've got the Husqvarna box.
Yeah.
And your chain and your bar oil. And you guys running saws, I'm sure you know way more about them than me. But for the home consumer or the dude that just owns a saw, MSR fuel bottles are fucking great to carry your bar oil and to carry it's what the Fireline guys use. They use MSR like metal water bottles, and they carry their premix in there. They carry their bar oil and that shit. That stuff works great, and it doesn't fucking leak. It's got a really, really, like, I have white gas in MSR fuel bottles that I've had in those bottles unleaking for probably 14, 15 years right now, and the seals are still good in those things. And the cloth ones, he says, hard plastic, not secure, or cheap-ass rubber that breaks down in a couple of months. And the cloth ones are like one layer of nylon, which gets cut up pretty quickly. I spent plenty of money on tools and other shit. I'd like to protect them when riding around in the bed of my truck with a sharp-ass chainsaw. I'm sure plenty of other guys would too. Who is this? I'm actually.
I thought that's Weapons Collection.
Weapons Collection. Right. Hey, send me an email, john@originalsoegear.com. Send me a link to some of what you're talking, because I've never seen them. I'm well aware of like Bailey's chainsaw catalog, but I've never seen what you're talking about. Send me a link to it. I'll definitely take a look at it, because I have saws. One of the best things I've ever got. You take your handbrake off. And it slips on. It's a rubber molded piece, and it has a second hole in it to put your scrunch in. That thing's fucking great. I've got some scrunches somebody made for me. I don't remember who made those. Thank you, whoever that was. I've got some fucking metal scrunches that are fucking awesome too. For you guys that don't know, that's a wrench and a screwdriver in one. It's for tensioning. It's for spark plug, and again for tensioning. It's got the fucking little screw to run the piece back that moves your bar forward and backwards, a little screw. A second thing I like to have on the saws, and I'm terrible about not running chaps. I have chaps. A lot of times we just, I'm in a hurry. I'm not going to throw them on. Every dude who's ever been fucked up has that story. I wasn't going to put him on. I was just going to make one cut, and he's fucking got caught in the leg or something. Tourniquet. Have a fucking tourniquet. Have a vehicle med bag. Whenever I'm, especially by myself or with the boys out cutting, the first thing, and ear pro, I use pelters or Comtac 2s, and tourniquet on the saw, and then a vehicle med bag. Always have that shit with you. Last law contact I had was in an armored semi, and the windows don't go down, so I have a note thing to put through the window telling the cop that. I opened the door, and I had a Smith & Wesson 10mm revolver on my shoulder rig. Cop was like, "Oh, shit. Didn't know you were hauling money. That's a cool gun." Who is this? John G. Then we had a chat about moon clips. Policy is talk to them through the slot and don't open the door now. Pro law or not, who gives a fuck? Never resist, obviously, but we don't risk idiots killing us anymore. P.S. once they figure out that you are hauling cash, prescription drugs, or precious metals, they always let us go.
I'd love to see your truck. Send a picture.
We got a buddy. We got a buddy with tons of armored truck stories.
Oh man, so Brown and Root.
Yeah.
So Brown and Root is
For you guys that don't know, they run the world.
They run the world, but they're
look and see who their board of directors is.
They do all the they bring in all the fucking hot dogs and macaroni and cheese for the military wherever we're stationed at.
What else they do?
That's really what they do. Air conditioners, hot dogs, mac and cheese. They are a logistical supply support for the military that got worked out in the first Gulf War. They are fucking... The company is...
Brown and Root has all the NSA contracts also.
Billion dollar...
Every conspiracy theory in the world having to do with fucking big government, permanent government. Every one of those dudes, all those fucking big power dudes, all are on the director for Brown and Root.
It's not even called Brown and Root anymore. They changed the name. And all they do is anytime somebody points out the fact that the company is actually owned by Dick Cheney, they just change the name of the company. None of the players change. It's all the same. They'll just change the name of the company so people will be like,
George Bush,
oh, it's
Little
fucking
Bush, fucking all of them.
It's fucking Avocado Man running that now.
So what about the trucks?
So Brown and Root was established really in the first Gulf War to support military forces moving forward. Doesn't make any sense because the military has their own logistical support systems in place.
It's a way to make a bunch of money.
Yeah, it was a way to make a super ton of money, and it was a no-bid contract. That's the thing. So if you thought you had a company, a trucking company that could compete, you weren't even allowed to compete. That contract had to go to them. Anyways, they're also the same people that coordinated all the putting out all the fire. Even though they used multiple different contractors, they're the ones that coordinated putting out all the fires out in Kuwait after the first Gulf War. But anyway, so fast forward to this war, Brown and Root is still using the same trucks that they were using for the first Gulf War. And, we didn't fire many guns in the first Gulf War, so it was kind of just like driving shit around and dropping it off. Well, this one, the bad guys tend to like to blow things up on the road. So initially they were getting their fucking asses handed to them. And your contract truck driver's like, fuck you, I'm not driving this shit anymore. I'm not going to drive that
ice road truck.
Yeah, that fucking 1972 former military truck with the fucking no doors on it through downtown Baghdad. So they got these fucking armored semi-trucks that they were so fucking badass. It looked like something right out of
Mad Max.
Even not really Mad Max in the sense of
more future.
Yeah, more future. I mean, these fucking trucks were badass.
Like that South African one drives over cars and just fire and shit.
Fucking these trucks that they got them were fucking badass, and there was no stopping those fucking trucks. Like after I saw it, I'm like, man, I wonder if they're gonna spend the money to bring those back, or if they're just gonna fucking leave them here. Which I'm sure they just left them there. I'm like, yeah, I would love to have one of those fucking things.
We're getting you a 3-wheel Citroen.
It would be fine. I would love to have one of those armored fucking semi-trucks. They had sleeper cabs on them and everything.
So, back to first Gulf War. Oil wells and shit, all the fires. Did you see any of those places?
Yes.
Were they just still standing there like they'd been on fire, or did they rebuild
Still on fire.
They're still on fire?
Well, I mean, when we went there, they were still on fire. The first time I went, they were still on fire. They're not on fire anymore. They
From
put
like
them all
1990?
out. Yeah.
Still on fire?
Wait a minute. When you say like from 1990 to when?
Now.
I was there in 90. No, there's no. They're all out.
I forget you were there in 90. Okay.
They're all out now. All those oil well fires are out now.
All the big Gulf War syndrome because of the smoke and all that bullshit, which is bullshit.
Yeah, it's
are all those ruins of those oil wells, or did they
fucking refitted that shit, man. Really? There's actually a.
I always kind of pictured that it didn't really do a lot of damage to the structure. They just kind of knocked the cap off, ignited the fluid, and it just fucking burned up in the air.
Basically, what you do is you just go to the wellhead itself.
Turn the wrench.
You just go to the wellhead. No, this is what they were doing. All you have to do is go to the wellhead itself, put an explosive device on there, walk away, blow that fucking wellhead up. it'll catch on fire as soon as that fucking wellhead blows off. And then you just have this pipe. Could be a lot of fucking pipes, depending on where they blew the wellhead off. And you just have this pipe there that is spewing all this oil into the air. A lot of it has other gases, so it'll have like methane gas and shit like that. So that's what keeps the fire going. What they do is they actually cut that fucking pipe. They cut that fucking pipe, and then once they get the fire out, they force another wellhead right on top of it. So literally, when they have the fire, once the fire's out and that wellhead is put back on there, they could hook up trucks and start getting oil again.
So it's not John Wayne walking up there in the fucking
They really were doing that, like with the fucking
with dynamite and shit,
with the stupid aluminum or
really?
the metal siding on the front of the tractor.
A lot of dudes made some serious money with that shit.
The company, so I can't think of the name of the company. Fuck. But the company that movie that John Wayne was in, where they were putting out the oil well fathers, that's a real company, and that company was in Kuwait putting out oil well fires.
So, couple things. So,
John, they don't use dynamite anymore. They use fucking.
Right. I remember watching that movie as a kid. I want to say I watched it black and white.
It should have been color.
Maybe
you probably watched it on a black and white TV.
Maybe. So, like we say this, there's probably dudes right now. There are kids listening because we have some kids that listen to this shit that don't know who the fuck John Wayne is. Which leads me into Jack Spirko was talking about cassette tapes.
Cassette tapes?
And he's like, somebody said, we have people listening that don't know what cassette tapes are. So he goes, cassette tapes were like Napster. You used to have to listen to Rat, which is funny because Stephen Piercy Rat used to, when Round and Round came out, they actually were practicing in a garage in Murphy Canyon in military housing when I was at Sarah High School a quarter mile up the road. But he's like, yeah, Napster. And I'm like, Jack, you got motherfuckers on here right now that don't know what the fuck Napster was.
Yeah, there's no way.
You gotta say like Pandora and iTunes. Yeah. Fucking, like, it's crazy. And then like, my boy, Justin Souter, some of you guys know him, worked at REI in Nashville. He works as his buddy in the bike shop there, who is a DJ, built me this fucking custom record player. It's badass. It's got fucking neon lights and shit in it. And I didn't have any records. So Justin, for Christmas one year, got me some records, and Amanda bought me some records. But they're not like old, they're like 50 Cent. Quiet Riot, which was the first one I ever had. Quiet Riot, Peace of Mind. That was Iron Maiden. Quiet Riot was the first album I ever had. Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind, 50 Cent. Like, they're buying modern records, but like records are back. Like,
yeah,
they didn't ever really all the way die. They're still full-blown record shops. But as a kid, you remember going to like Tower Record?
Yeah.
Or Warehouse?
Yeah.
Warehouse was the only thing open on...
it was like fucking... You would go to Warehouse. You would go to the Warehouse at midnight.
Yeah.
For the midnight, like they would be like, at midnight we're releasing this fucking album.
Yeah, and Tower Records down by the
Tower Records
Arena
would do the same thing.
And then the bands would be there after they play, selling their records and shit. Like Motley Crue was there. But Warehouse was the only place open on Thanksgiving that you could go anywhere around, like Tirisana, Kearney Mesa, Claremont Mesa. Like there was a giant. The Target was across. There was no Walmart then. The Target was across the street, but that motherfucker was on lockdown. Like, the only place open to go, because your cousin had a car, and you didn't have a car, so you'd want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was Kool Moe Dee. He had Kool Moe Dee, the rap album, in his Honda Civic.
Records are back, man.
Which was my point to it. Also, Gulf War. The first Gulf War.
First Gulf War.
We didn't have a single U.S. casualty, right?
No.
A plane crashed.
No, we had a bunch. I think I think the number is like 336 individuals killed in the Gulf War.
The very, very first one.
First one, yeah.
With Gosney and then we're pushing forward.
Yeah. Very first Gulf War.
Are you positive?
100%, yeah.
What were they killed by?
Well, we had some units that were, well, for example, LAR lost, I want to say 9 guys. They had a vehicle. They had two. I believe it was 2 vehicles.
Was it combative?
well, it was in the push. It was friendly fire, but it was during the push. So they had a vehicle blown up by fucking...
so is it that we didn't...
a tow missile.
Our own tow missile.
Our own tow missile.
We didn't have any casualties from combat.
No, we did, because we had aircraft shot down.
Who shot them down?
The Iraqis shot them down. So we had a Marine Corps. I know that. So OV-10.
A Bronco.
OV-10 Bronco was shot down.
Nice.
A Marine Corps
Not
colonel
cool
was killed in that.
You know Paul? Crazy Paul? Mr. Viagra?
Yeah.
You know, he was the last fucking U.S. serviceman to jump
Jumped
out of an OV-10
yeah.
Bronco. ATF has some of those, or did.
Yeah.
All right, back to... found an urban exploration building with your name on it. It's an old Singer sewing machine repair shop, abandoned a few years ago, and full of old heavy stuff.
Who said that? And where is this place? God.
Greg Roy.
Greg Roy. Where's it at?
He's our Kentucky dude.
Where's it at, Greg? Send us directions.
Podcast 49. Better yet.
Oh, Spider-Man in there.
Better yet. Fucking tell us where to meet you with a key. Podcast 49, you were talking about finances and having a new zero. There is a few new housing developments in my area with a lot of younger people buying $250,000 to $500,000 homes. I was chatting with a banker friend of mine, wondering how in the hell they can afford these mortgages. Because they're not. They're giving mortgages out, again, that people should not have. Well, let's see what you say. How they're affording these mortgages. He flat out said it's an image thing. They want to be seen as a big shot, but couldn't scrape together $1,000 in cash to save their lives. So how are they buying those houses?
Who's mortgaging them? They're mortgaging themselves to the fucking hilt.
Yep.
It's just like, you know, they're gonna do. I mean, they're doing the same thing with homes that they do with cars now. I mean, go look at a brand new anything truck. They're $75,000 fucking dollars.
Yes, they are.
They're 70. That's probably the low end. A couple of the ones I was looking at are $85,000, and we're talking about just your Ford F-350 truck. So
what's that payment give you?
Yeah, what's that payment? Well, what they're doing is they're pushing it out further.
Yeah.
So
7, 8 years.
You know, it used to be you could only get a 4-year loan for an automobile. Now you can get a fucking 10-year loan.
I just bought the Toyota truck. I put 10,000 down, 10 or 20. I don't remember if I put 10 or 20 down. My payments are right at about $1,000 a month. They were at 8 and change, I think. I financed out and prepaid 4 years of service, which gave me 60% off on the service. So it brought my payment up to like $960 a month. That's a 6-year loan on the truck. It's Toyota. No bullshit. I could walk into Toyota tomorrow. I've had the truck for maybe 6 months right now. I could walk into Toyota tomorrow and go, I don't want this truck anymore. I want a 4Runner. And they'll give me the next year 4Runner. If I'd probably have to give them $1,000, maybe $2,000. They would take my truck and I would walk out of there with an even more expensive 4Runner, like a wash. Like, they do hold their fucking value. Yeah. You can go in there right now and buy a brand new truck for right about the same price as you're going to buy a 1 or 2 year old truck. That's the only, and that is the first brand new vehicle I have ever bought. I just wanted a truck that I wanted something that I did not have to fucking work on.
Yeah.
I still have all the other ones. We're still fucking working on them all the time.
But that one's cleared.
I think I'm gonna get rid of it. I think I'm gonna get a 4Runner. Podcast 49.
You're gonna go up? Because the 4Runner's up, right?
What do you mean
bigger?
By up? Well, it's not actually. It might be a little bigger, but it's not about bigger. It's about that fucking bed on that truck. Because like we're going places and putting shit in the truck. I can't. The bed is so short. I had to drive the excursion last weekend because I wanted to bring some stuff back with us that physically would not fit in the short bed truck. And then it's storming, so you have to cover everything up, or it can't be it has to be secured. Whereas the 4Runner, I can just pop that seat, move that bench out, and still carry all my shit. This is crazy shit. Because of the bed and the Toyota, and I got a 4-door, right? So I can put the seats down, Lego a bunch of shit in there because we're not carrying kids or passengers with us right now. So I have the back seat of the truck with the back because the bed, everything gets wet in the bed. I have more room. I can haul more shit in my Porsche Panamera than I can in the fucking Toyota truck. It's fucking insane, man. It's great for off-road and mud and doing shit like that and carrying a bunch of gear and, you know, bug-out vehicle and building a overland vehicle. It's awesome. But for hauling, like, day-to-day shit, I mean, I wouldn't put bags of concrete, obviously, in my Porsche, but I wouldn't take my Toyota to do that either.
Yeah.
So, and then again, we've put some crazy shit in the fucking Porsche Cayman that probably shouldn't have been in there. Like when we put Babyhead in the front bonnet and he just rides in that area. He doesn't. That's just a joke. But it's fucking big, right? You could stand. Yeah, I could probably get in the front compartment of the front hood of the car, kneel down, and you could close the fucking deck lid on me.
There's a lot of room in there.
Question for John and Skully. Your podcasts are great, and the fact that you both of you are such good friends really comes through in your videos. However, could you please explain a time in your friendship or business when you both had a major disagreement or how you both overcame that? Nothing comes to my mind other than when I got Jeff arrested.
He didn't get me arrested.
Jeff got, like, really arrested. Like,
he didn't get me arrested.
Really, really arrested.
He didn't get me arrested.
Did anything come to mind?
No, I can't think of anything.
Like, I read this when I read this morning when I was unlocking the gate. I read that comment on my phone, and I thought, Jeff's gonna have something. What is it?
You get, like, I mean, there's a little you have little stupid shit that whether me and John disagree on how a piece of 550 cord gets tied, and it's always one of those things where it depends on the day. It depends on the day and how tired you are, whether or not you're like, that's some fucking bullshit. But the reality is, not outside of getting arrested, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything that matters.
How many days were you wrongfully imprisoned?
76 days.
Mandela.
Yeah, that's right. I was like fucking Mandela in there. I was not Mandela. I will have to say this 100% without any hesitation. I will say I did not have Mandela status until Josh Rummerfield was also incarcerated. Once Rummerfield got incarcerated,
wrongfully imprisoned.
Once Rummerfield was also wrongly imprisoned at the same facility that I was. Rummerfield is very personal. He's got a story to tell. He wants to tell a story. He's got that story to tell.
He actually has a really good story. I wish he would tell it.
And he commenced to tell. So here's the thing about military.
Nobody knew Jeff was a war hero.
Here's the thing
until Josh fucking told them.
The thing about military the military is, for the most part, your day-to-day correctional officer is a lance corporal. It's just a regular dude. I think there's a couple of sergeants in there, and then you have, gunnies and shit like that. But
Josh's like, motherfucker, you better come correct.
Yeah, Josh started spreading fucking rumors and shit, and before long, motherfuckers were bringing me cookies and shit. It was pretty funny. Like, he was in lockdown. It was funny because he's in lockdown, so you have to do 2 weeks in segregation before they just kind of release you into the fucking wilds. And he was in lockdown. And you don't, like, I didn't know he was in there. I didn't even know that he'd been rolled up. I didn't even know he was in lockdown. And so people are already you're in the hallway and people already start, like, they're doing, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm going to the hole or some shit. Or they found my fucking tool that I was using to clean the sink. And then come to find out it was fucking Rummerfield over there telling war stories and shit. It was funny. But
what was he in there for?
Oh, that was for straw purchase. No, he was. What did they get him for? Did put him? Yeah, it was for straw purchase. No. It was not for straw purchase. He was in there because he had a machine gun, which he did not have, by the way.
Do you know all that story?
Yeah, I know all that story.
So, when my raid went down, they raided my shop, my apartment, a bunch of storage units, and then 10 hours later left. And they left this handwritten carbon copy, chain of custody of the shit they stole from my shop. It was really like 20 pages worth of shit, but they left one page, like the first page. And they got tired. Like they physically got wore down from moving ammunition and ammo.
That's
cans
the way they
and
were
shit.
at my house.
So, at my apartment, which was it was a nice apartment. I had 3 garages under my apartment, and one on another apartment building in the complex. They took motorcycles, dirt bike, like finance. I had them fucking financed. Brand new motorcycles, 3 of them. Craftsman rollaway toolbox, double stack, fucking taller than I was. They stole all that shit, despite having all the paperwork showing that it was legally owned. They said clearly I stole it from Camp Pendleton. They didn't leave any chain of custody for any of that shit. But Josh, so when they hit my shop, there was a couple of big gun saves. They were actually material saves. They had holes on the top to put a thermite grenade, which fuck, I should have just melted those safes down. What would they have done then? They wouldn't be doing shit right now. Like, we wouldn't even have this story.
Yeah, they would have brought in the fucking metal. They would have brought in a molted piece of metal.
God, it'd be such
with a fucking barrel, like a barrel sticking out of it.
Such a better story, though.
They'd be like,
if they'd have come in and I'd have just popped some thermite.
You know what? It probably would have been worse for you, actually. Because first off, you can't have thermite. And second,
I had thermite.
And second, well, you can't legally have it. And second, it would have been worse for you because then they would have said these were machine guns. They'd have been like, these guns that you melted, the only reason why you melted them was because they were actually machine. I bet it would have been worse.
So the crazy thing was, like, I had some smoke grenades and some thermite and shit like that. None of that was on the chain of custody. They just kept all that shit for themselves or whatever they did with it. But Josh, there was 2 receivers. Josh had moved from Bonita or Linda Vista or somewhere. You remember going to his house? It was like Thomas Magnum, fucking Magnum PI's estate. Remember walking through that big ass fucking swimming, and he lived in the guest house in the back.
Yeah.
So he had moved from there to an apartment in Oceanside. And when I met Josh was like 17 years old. His fucking dream was to be a United States Marine and fucking go to combat. Like that was his only fucking dream. And he was on the way to that. Like, he was an intel officer, he was a reservist, and then he got caught up in my shit. So, when he moved to the apartment upstairs, his gun safes were too big. Like, I remember going over,
yeah.
who was there? We couldn't get the gun safes up the stairs. So, he stashed stuff in different places. There was 2 raw receivers that went in the safe at the shop. I didn't know they were fucking in there. Like, I don't even remember... I vaguely remember him putting them there at one time, but I don't remember them still being... So when all the dust settled, they found these 2 receivers, and he said that the government tried to say that he bought them for me, which was not the case. So they hit Josh up. We never hear anything more about that, and then they roll Josh up fucking like months later, right?
Maybe like a month after.
They say he has a machine gun, and you could get this. He had this AR-15. I don't even know if it was a one he put together or what the deal with it was, but you could get it super, super dirty, and sometimes it would double feed if they held the back of the stock against a tree. Is that right?
Yeah, it was something stupid.
They had to fucking heat the gun up, shoot like 4 mags through it, rapid fire. It had to be super dirty, and then they could put the stock against a wall, and sometimes it would double feed. So they actually tried to call that a machine gun. So Josh was like, fuck this, I'm fighting this in court. He was in jail for fucking a year and a half.
No, I don't think it was that long, because he deployed before I did.
It had to be because when they brought me halfway through. I was
know what? I want to say so he was released, and they rearrested him
for the receivers.
For the receivers.
But I thought they arrested him when they actually released him walking out of court. I thought they actually let him like get up, leave court, and then as he's coming down the steps, they busted him and handcuffed him.
I just know that.
So
he did a little tour with the 11th MEO. So
I was out on bail for 2 years, and then self-surrendered to Lompoc. I had 22 months of actual time that I had to do at Lompoc. At 11 months, they rolled me up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go, come on, you're leaving. I'm like, where the fuck am I going? So they haul me. They take 2 weeks to get me down to San Diego. They've got me in San Bernardino. It's like fucking a Mexican jail down
Yeah.
there. It's fucking crazy. And then they put me in this little fucking jail down on the border, a private jail. And I'm there like 2 days. Fucking finally, I get a hold of somebody, and my attorney comes and sees me, and I talk to the attorney, and then they roll me like a couple days later. It was on a Wednesday. They take me to court, and then I'm handcuffed in a fucking cage in the drive-in area where the buses come in, and I'm there for hours with the buses just coming in. The buses are in there idling. It's like they might as well have just took a pipe from the exhaust from the bus and just put it into that fucking little cage they had me in. So I'm talking to the attorney, and the attorney goes, finally I see the attorney, and the attorney goes, they want you to testify against Josh Rummerfeld. I said, what for? And he goes, straw man purchase. I go, there was no straw man purchase. And he goes, they're gonna, like, they're really serious. And it was on, they had to have manipulated all this so that it all happened
is weird,
at the same time.
You know, I don't even know how they could have justified strawman purchases, because those lower receivers had to have been registered with DOJ.
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying, they had to be registered with DOJ, which means he would have a registration card, or just a fucking note is what they were giving out. But he would have had a registration card with California Department of Justice that those were his. That in itself how would you argue that it was a straw purchase?
Because they were in my safe.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's what they're after.
Yeah,
so it's on a Wednesday. They're like, hey, they want you to testify against Josh Rummerfeld. I said, I've got nothing to say. And he goes, they're really serious. And I go, tell them to fuck off. And then I end up talking to the head prosecutor, prosecutor, my attorney, and I'm like, oh, I got nothing to say to you guys. And he goes, my attorney's like, they're really serious. They're going to let you walk out of here if you testify. I go, if I walk out of here, I get my rights restored. I get my fucking Second Amendment rights. I get my Fourth Amendment. Everything's gone as though this never happened, and I walk out of here. This is on Wednesday. And he goes, they're going to let you walk out of here. We will see about getting all the other shit. Like, you're going to go home if you agree to testify against Josh. What?
I'm saying, if it ain't in writing,
so I'm like, I got nothing to say. So when they come in, the fucking interview room. I'm like, I got nothing to say. They go, we will tell you what to say. I go, I want my Fourth Amendment rights back. I want all my shit. And they're like, we will see what we can do. I go, I got fucking nothing to say. I'm not testifying. And the dude goes, well, we know that you missed your wife's birthday yesterday. We know that your son turns 6 tomorrow, and we thought you'd like to be home on Friday. So this was Wednesday. We know you just missed your son's birthday. We know that your anniversary's tomorrow. We thought you'd like to be home for your wife's birthday on Friday. I go, I got nothing to say. So they fucking got up, and I'm sitting there, and then finally, hours go by. They fucking take me and put me back in jail, and it's right over by 905, because I remember seeing the motorcycle place where we used to ride dirt bikes, wherever that jail was. So then they pull me back out on Thursday. They pull me back out, haul me back down there. And then on Friday morning, they haul me back down there, and they finally get me out of the cell on Friday, and they put me in the elevator, and the bailiff goes, I don't know why you're even here. When you wouldn't testify, they let this guy go yesterday. And that was the end of it. I was fucking being bussed around and moved around for almost 4 weeks, probably, until they got me back to fucking put me back at Lompoc. And I did I guess they figured I'd done half my time. And just on those days, they would catch me in a position where I would fucking give them what they wanted. But the fact of it is that Josh did not buy those guns for me. They were not fucking. I didn't even know those guns were in there.
And they weren't. Here's the other truth. Here's the other truth that John's not really spelling out. Yeah, I get it. They were stripped lower receivers in the box. Could you have made a gun out of them? Of course, 100%. That's why we bought those little receivers, is to make guns out of them. But the reality is they were about as dangerous as a fucking stapler at that point.
And this is after they had hemmed him up, tried him for a machine gun, A dude from an expert witness came in who was an ex-ATF agent, and another dude who was the head law enforcement armor for Colt Firearms came in and testified on his behalf and said, this is bullshit. These are not machine guns. Nor was it ever any type of machine gun. And they let him walk out the front. And what I had heard is that when he actually walked out the door, some agents rearrested him for the straw man purchase thing. Skully, do you know about the 46 crash in '99? I was in one of Travis Haley's classes and he was talking about it. I believe he said it was his sister platoon.
Yes, I know about it, and some of the guys on that helicopter that died were at SOTG with me. So yeah, I knew about it. Technically I just missed it. So
how do I ask a question?
How do I ask a question?
Just kidding. Love the podcast. Thoughts on Alex Jones' suppression by the social media. Yeah, they're 100% fucking suppressing him.
Yeah, I mean the reality is they were looking to get him off of, I would be interested to know how much money
he lost.
Alex Jones lost. How much money that they did not pay him. Because, he was making a lot of money off of those accounts.
And his advertisers.
So, I wonder how much... I wonder if this was less to do with... We give a shit about... Because what they deplatformed him for... So, the truth be told... Is what they deplatformed him for... Was something that he said... Almost 6 years ago? So, something he said 6 years ago... Is what got him deplatformed now. So he's been penalized for something that he talked about in the past, even though within that time frame. So I'll tell you what basically he said, he was running around saying that fucking Sandy Hook was a hoax, that it didn't happen. And he was looking at the same anomalies that everybody else was looking at as far as all the conspiracy shit that was put out there. In that 6-year time frame, he has come around and actually said, yeah, that was bullshit. Those anomalies weren't real. It actually happened. But people, because people don't, when you're talking about the internet, and you're talking about, not Facebook, where do we watch all our videos? YouTube. When you're talking about YouTube, we don't look, when we see something on YouTube,
I do.
We don't look at it from a perspective of a chronological history. So when you see a video of me tomorrow, or if you look at the first podcast, and I say on the first podcast, I said something like, I don't know, fucking all Mexicans are evil. Because you're looking at the first podcast, you don't know what I've said since then in all these other 50 podcasts.
If you've repented?
So, yeah, on 48, I may go, oh, you know what? I'm just kidding. Mexicans aren't evil. They're fine. You don't see that. And that's what happened to him, is people were replaying the stuff that he did 6 years ago, and they weren't showing anything in between. So there was no context to what they were showing, and that's what got him deplatformed. It's kind of the same thing, like, think about the fucking governor of Virginia with his blackface and his Ku Klux Klan outfit. That came around to haunt him now to a point where people were like, oh, he needs to go. Nothing that he did in between those years was taken into consideration. No matter what he did in between those years, obviously he was not a member of the Ku Klux Klan. He actually used his medical practice to help impoverished children and things like... I mean, he's actually done some good things. We're just... You know what I'm saying? We're just finding these things in history and attacking them and saying, this is what makes that person. We have no redemption anymore. There's no path to redemption. It's just... Oh, you said this evil thing. It's just like the Academy Awards and fucking old boy not being able to do the Academy Awards because he made a gay joke 5 years ago. That is fucking ridiculous. Kevin Hart is a comedian. If he had not made a gay joke if he doesn't make a gay joke next year, there's a problem with Kevin Hart. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's ridiculous when you think about these things, and that's kind of what they did to Alex Jones. Alex Jones is legitimately crazy. He is legitimately crazy, but to deplatform him, here's the thing. He had 1 million. Well, I think he still has. He still has 1.5 million subscribers.
People are still watching those videos. They're all still there.
So, what's the deal? You basically what you're doing is you're censoring all those people's ability to get Alex Jones's message. How is that with him not making any terrorist threats? So he's not telling people to hurt people. He's not telling people to go do crazy shit. He's just telling you that the government is fucking manipulating everything, which it's not. It's big government, or it's big corporations that are. But he's just telling you that stuff, and you deplatform him? It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think Alex Jones is completely crazy, but, you know, truth be told, he's being vilified for something. He's being vilified for something that he's already kind of made amends to in his crazy roundabout way. So I don't know.
All his shit's still there.
Yeah, YouTube is still making money every time somebody clicks on one of his videos.
Yeah, it's all still there. And as far as the money thing, like, yeah, he lost the monetization, which is, I don't know what that would have been, but think about the advertisers that were paying to advertise with him because of that reach, and now they're not. I mean, I would like to know what that number is as well. Without
any legal recourse. So without any legal recourse, without any day in court. So no day in court, no judgment. His programs have been labeled as hate speech. And because his programs have been labeled as hate speech, it's considered a terrorist act, and they confiscated 5 of his bank accounts.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Said that on Rogan the other day.
So along with the timeline, when you're watching a video, you don't know really when that video was put up a lot of times. When I'm on my laptop, I can look right at the fucking bar, and it tells me when that video was published. But for some reason on my phone and my iPad, it does not. The best I can do is scroll down to the comments and see when the last comment was made.
It's the clickbait thing, you know. The reality is news organizations are dying on the vine. When you think about the New York Times and all those diehard newspaper people, they're really dying on the vine, because I don't need to go to the New York Times to figure out what's going on in fucking in Vietnam with President Trump. I don't need the New York Times to tell me that anymore, because it's all right there. So they need that clickbait. They need you to click on the article, and so that's why everything that is published now is like, you know, catastrophe, or, you know, Alex Jones says kill babies. It's always that, because they want you to click on that article, because that's how they're getting paid. So that's why your news media is starting to get more sensationalized. They're getting more over the top. They need O.J. Simpson in the fucking corner stabbing Nicole Brown, because nobody's paying attention to the fucking New York Times.
There's so much shit you click on now, and then what you thought was in there is not even fucking there. Like the picture they showed you. Laura Bradshaw says, just saw a lovely carousel in Missoula, Montana. If you ever get that far north, you'd enjoy it.
Is it for sale?
Beautiful horses. Speaking of New York, when I was taking my concealed carry class, my instructor was talking about some stupid laws. Apparently, it is illegal for New York State police officer to enter the city limits of New York while on duty with their pistols. That doesn't surprise me. Keep it up, guys, James says. Skully, NI 9465, 17 hours ago, says, Skully, do you think the VT fuse, a proximity fuse, was the second greatest World War II weapon invented after the nuke? ? What's your top 3 conventional war weapons designs? Oh, there's a lot of questions. Go ahead and answer those.
I mean, the VT fuse, I don't know.
Tell everybody what it is. I don't know what it is.
It's variable time. It allows ordnance to explode. Okay. It allows the ordnance to explode without hitting the ground. And anytime you can airburst something, you can actually do more damage. That's why when you think of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those bombs didn't actually hit the ground. They, I want to say 1,300 feet. I don't know what I don't know what they detonated those at, but they don't actually hit the ground. They work better if they explode above ground. Do they do more damage that way? as far as what's the top
Best
three
conventional weapons, war weapons.
Conventional weapons? I mean, B-17, A-10 Warthog, and the United States Marine. That's it. Those are the two. B-52,
Yeah,
A-10 Warthog,
Abrams.
and United States Marine. Abrams is it's up there, but
that'd be top
the Marine
4.
Corps. Yeah, it'd be in the top 4, definitely.
John, does having good hard sex with a woman 3 times a day count as good cardio with a bit of muscle building, or should you still hit the gym 3 times? You got to go to the gym. You're not gonna burn. You're not gonna burn shit for like all you guys that get on a bicycle and go ride. That's awesome. More power to you. But you know that for fucking every mile you do on a treadmill, you got to do 8 miles on a fucking bicycle. Like, fucking, that's good. But if you're fucking really good, I mean, you're not sustaining the cardio that you're going to.
You're going to have a good solid core, though. Solid core.
Yeah, you got to
keep it up.
You got to go to the gym, man. You don't even have to go to the gym. It can be body weight shit. Like, everybody gets so caught up in the gym membership thing. Move. Like, fucking move. It can be cardio. It can be walking, running. Fucking do something more than you did yesterday. Just fucking get up and move.
Come here. I got some railroad ties for you to stack.
We actually do have a lot of railroad ties we need stacked. We're going to have to test Bill out, see if it kills him or not. He'll be tougher. Thank you two guys. Started in a utility... Thanks. You two guys started in a utility closet like Jobs of Wozniak of Apple. Buy SOE Tactical Stock. Robert Lovendy says, Epstein, Lolita Express to some islands. Pedo Paradise, pretty disgusting. Hope he gets rearrested and he does spill the beans on Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton will kill him before that happens.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised that man has not fallen down some steps or slipped out of his airplane or been shot in the back of the head 3 times
by himself.
I am surprised that he has not disappeared yet.
Bill Clinton.
He better be fucking hiding is what he better be doing.
Bill Clinton apparently went there several times without a security detail. It was more than that.
12 times.
Hillary as well.
Like they have documented that they went there 12 times.
John, was good to hear you. Very briefly mention Q. You gotta love emojis. Thanks for interesting and entertaining podcast as always. If you go to India and Udaipur, would suggest visit a hotel there in the middle of the lake, the White Palace. Stunning.
We got to go soon because those guys are getting ready to blow each other off the map.
Are they really?
Nah, it won't happen.
If we go to India and we go there, we're stealing some shit. We're going to India to buy shit, so I don't think shit at that hotel's for sale. And today, February 27th, on the JRE Diamond David Lee Roth was on. Been a historic lunatic since '78. Good to hear nothing's changed. I bet Jeff was laughing all afternoon. Is that Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan experience? We got a buddy.
Yeah.
We got a buddy. Yeah, we can see. Jeff Green's his name. Look him up. Last I heard, he's in Colorado raising really expensive fucking attack dogs. Worked for Surefire. He was head of security for David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth.
They know all this.
Yeah, it's out there, right?
Yeah, it's out there.
David Lee Roth had a mansion, had a TV show they were shooting. Always Playboy bunnies around. They did a bunch of photo shoots. He had Playboy bunnies and a bunch of fucking midgets wearing old school SOE gear. There are fucking hundreds of photos out there of that shit. David Lee Roth, I don't know how much of his story he put out there, but to listen to the guys we know that did business with both Mike Tyson and David Lee Roth, it was like having a child with a driver's license and a drug problem. Like it was always, and you were going to be in more trouble for what they did than they were going to be. Like I know 3 or 4 people who have dealt with both of these guys, and while they were paid well, they said they had to stop doing it because it was going to fucking end their own careers over it.
David Lee Roth
had a grid pattern.
Yeah, interestingly enough, David Lee Roth invented the groupie grid pattern. So every arena that they played at, he broke those arenas down into grids, and so he could literally tell, like when the fucking concert was over, he'd be like R17 and J22, and the fucking dudes would go out and find those people in that grid and bring them backstage.
To fuck.
Yeah, the groupie, the groupie grid. That's what I like to call it.
Had a great laugh with the wife. Bomb ass pussy. She loved the lock her up Clockwork Orange style. Hashtag bomb ass pussy. Is that what you're calling your wife?
Bomb ass pussy?
Bomb ass pussy?
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I call mine. She's got a tattoo on there. Just look it up on Instagram.
It says bomb ass pussy.
Bomb ass pussy. Skully, you had me cracking up about the leadership of the Marine Corps. I don't have a solution, but curious if you did. The way Marines are promoted is all fucked up. If I can shoot good, run fast, cheat on my MCIs like everyone does, and the staff MCOs like me and give me high pros and cons, I'm going to get promoted before this other Lance Corporal that knows his job 10 times better than me and is way better leader than I am. Meanwhile, that guy gets held back. When enlistment time comes around, the guy that could have done so much more for Marine Corps is thinking, fuck it, I'm worth way more than they've got to offer, and I'm getting out. The cycle continues and is all a big mess. This turned into a rant about why good Marines leave. You were also right about chewing up and spitting out one-term guys. Bet you can tell I was one of them. Podcast is awesome, and it's part of my daily routine on work days.
The crazy thing when you mention that, the pros and cons and shoot good, run good, jump good, fly good, that is the best part of the Marine Corps promotional system. So from E0, from E1 to E6, so from PFC to Staff Sergeant. Well, I would say more PFC to Sergeant, okay? So from PFC to Sergeant, at least you have a guideline. Those fucking things are etched in stone, and you have a guideline on this is exactly what you need to get promoted to these ranks, okay? As far as the Marine Corps is concerned, they've got that etched in stone, and if you know those guidelines, then you fall within those guidelines, you're going to get promoted. Once you pick up Staff Sergeant, you enter the Mafia. And the problem with the Mafia is the guidelines are no longer as strict. And they're no longer as clear cut. So when they say this is what you have to do to get promoted to gunny, it's not clear cut. Why? Because they're going to convene a board. They're going to convene a board of individuals that have their own agendas. And you may actually be a rock star, but because you may actually be in a rock star, but because you were fucking downrange in Afghanistan and you didn't send a picture in your PT gear, they're not even going to look at you. They're going to go like this. They're going to take your folder and they're going to put it over here and they're going to go, we're not even going to talk about that, Marine. Let's go look at all these guys that have been in the rear with the gear for 10 years who've sent their fucking PT picture in. And then the other problem is they have people in their head already. So when they're convening those boards, they're going to go like this. They're going to go, hey, you got that guy over there that you want to get promoted. I've got this guy over here. You vote for my guy, I'll vote for your guy. It's a con. It's just a fucking con the higher you go up in the system. Now, the beautiful thing about the higher you go up in the system is the less likely it is that you're not going to get promoted. You really got to do something fucked up to not get promoted, because so many people do jump ship that are more qualified than the people that are actually staying in. So it is a fucking mess. My solution is what the Marine Corps really needs to do is the Marine Corps needs to take on the model of the Royal Marine Commandos and stop with the fucking up or out. If you want to carry a 240 Gulf for 20 years and be the best fucking 240 Gulf machine gunner that the fucking Marine Corps has ever seen, then guess what? That's what you're going to do. You're going to carry that 240 Gulf. If you want to be Sergeant Major of the fucking regiment, then all you have to do is volunteer, and if you meet the prerequisites, you're going to be the Sergeant Major. Like I said, I went to the advanced course with a Corporal Payne and a Sergeant Major. I can't think of his last name. I should. He was my partner for a couple of the exercises, but They were both exactly the same age. Came in the Royal Marines at the same time. Corporal Payne wanted to keep being a warfighter. The other guy was like, you know what? I'll do Sergeant Major, and went and is doing the Sergeant Major billet. What they do with their retirement is it's not about a cured rank. It's about time and service. So time and service is more important than your final rank. I think you get a little bump if you're a fucking Sergeant Major when you retire versus the corporal. But as far as the majority of that retirement pay, it's equal. And that's really what the Marine Corps should do. They would get everything that they want. So right now, the fucking Commandant of the Marine Corps is like, we need to be smarter and fucking faster and think better. And we need fucking staff sergeants at the squad level. Well, all you have to do if you want a better fighting force is just say, retirement has nothing to do with the rank you obtain. It has to do with the time and service. You can be the fucking best truck driver the Marine Corps has ever seen. And it's good. Because you're going to have guys that are going to rise to those levels. And then you're going to have guys that are going to be like, fuck it. I want to be the Sergeant Major of the fucking regiment. It works itself out. The fucking Royal Marine Commandos have no problem with it. And they have a older, mature force. And with that maturity, you get a better force through that maturity. The only reason why the military in general likes to use 18-year-olds is because 18-year-olds do not fear their mortality. An 18-year-old doesn't see his death as anything that he has to worry about because it's not going to happen in his lifetime. An 18-year-old is still talking about, oh, I'm not going to live past 30 because I like jumping out of airplanes and doing crazy shit. The military loves that because the military can get that guy to do things.
They'll get him to do things that'll
tactically
make him not live past 30.
That are tactically unsound. Where if you have somebody who's fucking tactically sound, and you have this young lieutenant who's going, hey, we're just going to fucking put bayonets and charge over this hill. There's going to be somebody there that's going to go, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We're not doing that. So you just got to, I don't know where I was going with all that, but that's the military in general. The leadership in the military is fucking... There are good leaders out there. But unfortunately, they are rare and far between. Because most of the leadership that you see on CNN, your fucking generals and your colonels, all they're concerned about is covering their ass. They're not really concerned about, is their battalion really ready to fucking go in the fight? So it's a sad thing to say. There are some good leaders out there, but even in my 20 years, I can, this on my hand, I bet I can count out maybe 10 guys that were real fucking Marines with real leadership skills.
Tim Wilkinson. Hey guys, so here's an idea for a cool subject for you guys to discuss.
Okay, what is it?
With all the moves towards automation, AI, and jobs likely to disappear faster than we have ever seen before, I've seen estimates as high as 70 to 80% of jobs becoming obsolete in the next 20 years. If you had a magic wand that could change government policy instantly, what would be your ideas for policy that could steam a disaster that is likely coming our way sooner than later?
Every time there is a technological jump, no matter what it is, we always talk about how it's going to destroy everything. I am contrary to that. I am contrary to that belief. I believe that while AI is going to steal jobs, while AI is going to steal certain jobs, it's going to create jobs. It's going to create jobs. It'll just create a job that we don't even know exists right now. There's going to be, there's going to be a need for a human doing something somewhere. Will they become more technical? Maybe. Maybe not. You don't know what AI is actually going to do. We've had AI working in the automotive industry forever.
Sometimes it goes nuts and smashes a guy.
Yeah, sometimes it goes nuts and smashes a guy. But think about it. The Nissan plant in fucking Smyrna still employs
fucking lot, man.
38,000, I think he said, or 30, because they're running. They run 24 hours a day, so they're still employing people, even though there's fucking AI in there, fucking putting doors on and doing all other kinds of crazy shit. A person still has to fucking lean in between all those machines and fucking put this little piece of glue on the door, and then slide back out before the machine kills him. So I mean, you don't know. I think AI is going to create jobs that we don't know about, or that we haven't figured out yet. So it'll be interesting. I don't think it'll be the great catastrophe that it is.
I'm sure you guys have discussed this before. Was just curious about what your guys' thoughts are on the actual plan to help humanity adapt. I've heard ideas on a universal income, and also people saying we will adapt as we always have, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
Personally, I think this is a bigger change than humanity has seen. The results could be pretty bad.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing when you think about could the results be pretty bad? They could, but this is how they could be bad. That AI comes online and decides tomorrow that organic life forms are not supportable on the planet anymore, and they just kill everybody, and then our worries are over. It doesn't matter anyways, because they're going to attack us in a way that we couldn't even fathom. Or it's going to create what it probably ultimately will create is more leisure time. Because here's the thing. You know, when you talk about, oh, fuck, AI, and we're not going to have any jobs, and it's a vicious circle. I can't, me as fucking, I don't know, let's say Ford. Me as Ford, I can't completely automate everything in my plant, have 100% automation, and then go, by the way, everybody has to buy my cars. Because no one has a job, and they can't buy my cars. It's a vicious cycle. There's going to be jobs created that we can't even comprehend. We're going to adapt to it because rich people will only be rich if people are buying their products. Now, considering India and China are will be the biggest consumers in the future, this is the thing you have to be worried about. I would be more worried about globalism, about corporate globalism, than I would be about not artificial intelligence, but robots fucking driving trucks and robots fucking making your coffee. And the reason why that is because if I take you the consumer out of the equation, because I don't need your consumerism anymore, because my products are being consumed in China and India, then you in America, the middle class and even the poor, you guys can be as poor as whatever. You don't need I don't need you to work in my factories anymore because I'm sending everything to China and India. That's what you should really be afraid of, is globalism. Because ultimately that's how they expand. That's how they are expanding and making their corporations bigger, is creating this global community that they say is going to be so helpful for everybody. It's not. All they're trying to do is get their products sold to those bigger fucking markets. Because those markets, they really do make the American market look teeny weeny when you start thinking about India and China.
And then you got that pesky thing of all the people here not working, not affording the products. They call those people feeders.
Yeah.
You're in the way. You were eating food. You were part of the population problem. It's Agenda 21 shit if you look at it, just like the movie Hunger Games. But like on a local level, AI, what's the biggest thing that you hate doing? Like what's the worst thing that happens? Going to Walmart. Look at fucking Walmart. Walmart is like the worst place to work. Like, I mean, that's fine if you're old and you're a door greeter or whatever, but generally the people that you interact with at Walmart, they just like don't give a fuck. Those chicks working the registers and shit. Or what's the thing? You're like, that's fine, don't go to school. You're going to work at McDonald's all your life. That's like the default worst place to work is McDonald's when you think about it. Really, any fast food, the worst thing that happens at fast food is interacting with fucking human beings because they don't give a shit. Your shit's going to be fucked up wherever you go, right? We go to grocery stores, you buy food, you put it in a cart. If there's a problem, that's your fucking fault. But if you go someplace and order some food, typically you hear the horror stories about fucking fast food interaction. That shit's going away. You walk into fast food now, there's a fucking kiosk there. Pretty soon, there are less and less people being employed. So where does that low-level employee go? There becomes more. We don't even have 7-Elevens here.
No, we don't. Well, maybe that should be our thing.
Circle K, gas station.
Circle K, gas station. Yeah, I mean, the reality is, we'll figure something out. Maybe there'll be some crisis of conscience where we have to riot in Washington D.C., but they'll figure something out. Whether it's, like the guy running for president, whether it's a corporate dividend, so everybody in America gets a dividend because we're doing so well. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I don't think it's going to be this big calamity that everybody thinks it is.
Like, think about within the business. Biggest problem we have on a daily basis, and right now we have a fucking great crew. Biggest problem we have had in 3 years being in this building is always fucking humans.
Humans, employees.
It's human interaction, and when a human stops working here, you almost always hear they work where? At a fucking gas station in town. Always. Because they've already run through Walmart. They've already been fired from McDonald's.
We just have to retrain everybody. That's all. Through schooling.
That's our biggest problem is not having enough humans sitting here building the stuff. If you could give me a sewing machine and I could take 5 of my humans and have them control 3 sewing machines, fuck, our production wouldn't be a problem.
I mean, the question is what percentage. The question will be, what percentage of the population are we willing to lose? Are we willing to lose in order to keep moving forward? Now, when you think about, and what I'm saying here is, think about all the homeless people. That's a percentage of the population over the across the United States.
Raise.
Yeah, that's a percentage of the population in the United States that we as a country. The reality is, that is a percentage that we as a country we've decided, it's okay. That's whatever that percentage is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the overall national statistics for homeless are.
If you had to guess, what do you think it is?
Oh man, I bet it's a point something zero. Because there's 300, when you're talking 330 million Americans.
Yeah.
But that will start to tick up, right? If we're saying let's just say 85% of all truck drivers lose their jobs in the next 10 years.
I think that's coming, guys.
Well, you got 2 problems with saying that. One, we just talked about the average age of a truck driver is 65 years old, which means a lot of those guys in 10 years will not be working anyways. A lot of those guys are going to be done working in 5 years. The reality is right now we have a trucker shortage, and that's why they're looking at AI in order to keep the trucks on the road. And even the best predictions, when you're talking about trucks, even the best predictions for these trucks is they will be autonomous. These trucks will be autonomous on the freeways. But at all the major hubs, there's going to be drivers that will get in those trucks and drive them to the fucking Walmart or Super K or whatever. That it will not be autonomous inside the city.
No longer a long haul truck.
So there will be no longer long haul truck driver jobs. But if you factor in how many truck drivers we are going to lose just through attrition,
what the fuck's driving behind the building?
I don't know.
Sounds like a big truck too.
Nick, maybe.
415.
No. So if you factor all the truck drivers we're going to lose through attrition just because they're going to be too old to drive, and then you create these new jobs at hubs, they're not going to probably pay as much, but there might be more of those jobs because more trucks are going to be running, and there's still going to be fewer truck drivers. So in that case, that might actually be a fucking a middle class paying job for somebody to just drive trucks around town and then scoot those trucks out after they've made their deliveries. It'll be interesting, but the question is, we're at 330 million people. What percentage of that would we allow? What percentage of that would we allow to fall through the cracks before we would start going, hey, we have to fucking do something about this? I'll bet we could get up to 1%.
On the other hand, if you can get that percentage higher, somebody could sweep those people up and have free slaves. I mean,
Well, I
fill your camps up making fucking widgets and hinges.
Hinges.
I'm not saying that's the way to go. I'm saying that there is some place where that is happening.
I mean, the interesting you have two things that I think you have two major. Well, I guess there's more than that.
That
but
becomes your strawberry pickers.
My crossroads are globalism. Globalism is a fucking problem because what globalism does to you as a country, no matter where you're at in the world, what globalism is you as a country makes you, the country, you, the citizen, no longer important. That is no longer important. You become irrelevant. So globalism, bad. And then corporations, I would say, and I'm probably wrong, I'm probably 5 years behind the power curve, but corporations taking over the government, also very bad. We should not have allowed. I don't want to say allowed because we didn't allow it. The Supreme Court just adjudicated on it. Corporations should not be considered people. They shouldn't be considered people, and they should be able to be sued just like anybody else. But corporate, that corporate greed and that 1%. Like look at fucking Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos. That guy right now could literally probably do anything he wants. Anything. Like I'll bet if he wanted to, if he really wanted to, I'll bet he could get Chuck Schumer to kill Nancy Pelosi. I'll bet he could make the right donations and be like, look, Chuck, all you have to do is give her this fucking book that you can buy on Amazon that when she opens it, it's a big fucking pterodactyl's gonna fly out and rip her head off. I'll bet, book. Yeah, pop-up book. I'll bet Bezos has that kind of money where he could make that happen. And he's just one individual. He's just one individual where there are no checks and balances on what he does on a daily basis. Imagine I'm sure, he was sending his girlfriend, he was sending his side chick dick pics. So the reality is he's just like everybody else. He's not in a cave somewhere. We're probably lucky he's not in a super volcano somewhere with sharks with lasers on their heads, that he's just dumb like all the rest of us and he's sending dick pics to his girlfriend. But man, the type of money he has, I don't know why Bezos hasn't gone to the Czech Republic and just been like, all right, I'm buying the whole country. Here you go. He could do it. He's got that kind of money. He could do it. So I don't know. Those are some of the things that I'm more concerned about versus trucks that drive themselves.
All right, we've been going almost 2 hours.
Have we really?
Yeah. We'll finish this up on Monday. We have some material with Gabby being gone. I think that our stuff will probably upload a little slower on video. I don't know that we'll even have a video up. We've got plenty. When I printed this off, I'm like, shit, we don't have very much. But we're not.
I got going on Jeff Bezos.
We're not even a third.
Sorry,
out.
Jeff.
It's Friday. All our people are going to leave here in about 40 minutes, so we need to get out there and see what's going on. Make sure everybody's got what they need. And thanks for watching us, guys.
Jeff, get with Elon, get that M1 Abrams project started. I am willing to drive the tank anywhere you want me to drive it. On the moon. I'll drive it. If you get if we can get an M1 Abrams to Mars, that would be awesome.
M1 Abrams Mars rover.